The market is filled with self-help books promising to help get rid of all your problems, live a happy life, and maybe turn into the Dalai Lama, but the real life is very, very different. Do you want to live a happy life? Start by forgetting everything you have ever learned from self-help books. And here's why. We grow up learning the importance of striving for better. The idea is everywhere, from self-help books to TV commercials. We're told to always strive for more happiness, more money, more experiences, more friends. The list is endless. Unfortunately though, this idea leads us to focus on what we lack, which makes us keep striving. So what should you do? The idea behind of not giving an F doesn't mean being apathetic or not caring about anything. Instead, it means the following. Being comfortable with your own set of values instead of following what society dictates. Saying F it to the unimportant things in your life. Being selective about what you actually care about. Realizing that simplifying your priorities rather than pursuing everything actually makes you happier. And you know what else is gonna make you happier? If you smash that like button and give a thumbs up to this video. With all this in mind, let's dive into some of the lessons from the book. Lesson number 1. Stop giving too many Fs. The world spins too fast these days. Did you ever experience running on a treadmill at maximum speed? If you have, you know that the treadmill goes so fast that all you can do is just keep running. If you want to get off, your only option is to slow it down. And the same happens in life. You have to slow it down, or in other words, you have to stop giving too many Fs. We spend time and energy caring about things not worth our time. Like today morning, when for example at the Starbucks waiting for your coffee, you have a meeting in 30 minutes, you're in desperate need of caffeine, and you have 2 people in front of you. And all of a sudden, someone cuts in line and you totally lose your temper. In moments like these, you should remember you have a limited amount of energy to spend and have a limited number of Fs to give. So it's time to stop wasting your Fs with superficial events or goals. And the author puts it beautifully. In my life, I have given an F about too many people and too many things. I've also not given an F about many people and many things. And like the road not taken, it was the Fs not given that made all the difference. Lesson number 2. Happiness is misunderstood. We tend to believe that happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If your next project is a success, you'll be happy. If not, you won't. It's an if-then equation that we can never be satisfied with because we immediately raise the bar as soon as we achieve that outcome. The truth is that happiness grows from solving problems or overcoming challenges. Remember that problems can be good for you. When there is a problem, there is usually a solution. And when you solve a problem, you get the satisfaction of the improved circumstances. In life, problems are like waves, and we're the surfers. When a wave, aka a problem, comes, you ride it. Then it dies down, but you know for sure that there is another one coming right behind it. But now you're a tiny bit better at surfing, so even if the wave is bigger, you got it covered. So start welcoming the waves, because without them, you wouldn't have the opportunity to actually get better. And as the author wrote, life is essentially an endless series of problems. The solution to one problem is merely the creation of the next. Don't hope for a life without problems. Hope for a life full of good problems. Lesson number 3. The entitlement trap. Life is not easy. It's not fair, it never was, and chances are it will never be. But in spite of this universal truth, you might be suffering from what the author calls the entitlement trap. It can take one of 2 forms. 1, you believe you're entitled to feel good all the time. Or 2, you believe you're exceptional or different. And all of this started in the 1960s when researchers discovered that people who felt good about themselves tended to perform better. That's when policymakers began promoting self-esteem in the hope it would lead to such things as better academic performance, less crime, greater employment, job performance, and overall nirvana across the board. The movement grew throughout the next decades, and more recently technology became a contributor to the entitlement epidemic. Nowadays, it's easy to compare yourself to that Facebook friend who just bought a shiny car or spent a year traveling the world. And it's so easy to feel like you deserve that life for yourself, even if you have never done anything to actually deserve it. Feeling entitled can keep you from growing and learning because you don't recognize your flaws, and therefore you can never improve yourself. Everyone fails, but you have to recognize your failures to learn from them and actually get better. And in the author's words, the problem with entitlement is that it makes people need to feel good about themselves all the time, even at the expense of others around them. Lesson number 4, define your values. According to the author, our values determine the nature of our problems, and the nature of our problems determines the quality of our lives. So if you want to stand a chance at a better life, you need to examine your values and change those that are not serving you well. How? These are the 3 layers to the process. Layer number 1, identify your emotions. When something is bothering you, identify what are you feeling. Layer number 2, determine why you feel certain emotions. Ask yourself why you feel the way you do. You cannot change it unless you know the cause. Layer number 3, identify the personal values underlying your emotions. How do you define success and failure? Here's a personal story from the author to help you see how this is put into action. Manson wanted to have a close relationship with his brother, but his brother didn't respond consistently to his messages. So he started asking himself a series of questions that, even though made him feel super uncomfortable, helped him understand the root of the problem. For instance, my brother doesn't answer my messages. Why? He doesn't care about me. Why do I believe that? If he cared about having a relationship, he would answer them and he would answer faster. Why does that feel like a failure? And he kept going deeper and deeper, and for each answer he would ask himself why, slowly and somewhat painfully peeling the layers of this emotional onion. Finally, he realized that his problem was using his brother's email responses as a measurement of their relationship. He could have measured closeness in a different way, such as trusting each other or being able to rely on each other when in trouble. And after working through his emotions and values, he became aware of why he felt so much pain and found that it was completely unjustified. Lesson number 5. Success starts with failure. Most people are reluctant to fail or to admit failure, but to succeed at something, you first have to fail, usually multiple times, so you can learn. And I'm sure you've heard of Walt Disney, right? And when you think of Walt Disney, you probably think creativity, Disneyland, cartoons, success. However, his story wasn't always a happy one. At the beginning of his career, he was fired by a newspaper editor because he lacked imagination and he had no good values. And once he decided to make something out of his ideas, he went bankrupt several times before building Disneyland. In fact, the proposed park was initially rejected by the city of Anaheim on the grounds that it would only attract riffraffs. So you see, everyone fails at some point, but failure can be the first step towards success. And if you want to be successful at something, you have to be willing to fail at it. And lesson number 6, death enhances life. Ultimately, death is the only thing that gives us perspective on our life's values. As Mark Twain wrote, fear of death follows from fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. Anyone who had a close experience with death knows that we often waste time and energy worrying about irrelevant things such as fear, shame, or embarrassment. So start confronting the reality of death, and you might even prioritize what's important and stop chasing or worrying about the trivial things in life. Need help making all this real? Here we go. Imagine you wake up one day and you found out that a loved one has passed away. You would know that from that moment onward, you would never see a smile on that person's face. You would never cry on that person's shoulder. Now, would you care about those little things that affected your mind? Would you care about the guy who cut in front of the Starbucks line? Or whether you should buy a new iPhone or the new Samsung? The question is, without your loved ones around, would you still care about any of those things? So you see, life is so much bigger than the little things we often waste our energy with. So go out there and remember Manson's words. You and everyone you know are going to be dead soon. And in the short amount of time between here and there, you have a limited amount of F's to give. Very few, in fact. And if you go around giving an F about everything and everyone without conscious thought or choice, well, you're going to get F'd. And if you like this, you're absolutely going to love the next summary that's coming out next week. So click on the subscribe button, join the family, stop giving an F, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.